So today was the day of my Politics of Geography final. Oddly enough, I was only supposed to have an hour to do all the 15 very short answer questions, as in I answered them all with either one or just a few sentences. I started it at, I believe it was 4:59 p.m. exactly. And I finished at, I think, 6:33 p.m. So I took an extra 33 minutes for what I was supposed to take. Oddly enough, it didn't automatically end when the hour elapsed. There was no timer counting down from an hour upon me starting the exam. I caught up on my Spanish grammar journal entries, filmed the VHL Central grammar tutorials with Bandicam, and then I completed my equity, and I think it was the equity, diversity, and inclusion training, because I thankfully got a reminder to do that today, and it was due today. I think it took me about an hour to complete. I think I was somewhat thorough in completing the training. In general, I got most of the questions right, but not all of them, and they gave me a sort of choose your own adventure story involving a character named Jose, who gets into some uncomfortable situations due to, I believe, intersectionality. I'm assuming that based on what I was told through the videos, Jose had a disability that made it so that he had to use a laptop in class. I'm just not too sure on what impairments would require that accommodation. Maybe it's certain mental impairments or an impairment involving the hands that would make it difficult to write. And based on the name, I'm assuming that Jose is Hispanic, though obviously that's just an assumption and it could be wrong. But I'm just trying to recite what I remembered from the training. I had some difficulty with... I had a considerable difficulty in typing out my brief responses to the 15 questions, because I think this key and this key, along with this key, I think maybe this key gave me some trouble, so I often had to copy by holding Control C and paste by holding Control L. We're really tapping those shortcuts together. Other times I would just ignore the missing letters and hope that Grammarly would automatically correct it, which it often would, even at times where I thought it wouldn't. And still other times, I would just resort to sort of brute forcing it. Sort of tapping on the O key like this, pressing down into the O key like this, that sort of thing. Still, I think I managed to do a pretty good job in doing those short answer responses. Here's how my city currently looks in Elvenar. Here's where I'm at in regards to Winter Magic. Thankfully, during the Jose story, I made sure to make what I thought were the best choices, and they turned out to be pretty good. And the story ended with Jose staying at college. Though that last basketball scene was a bit uncomfortable to watch. As it got a bit physical, there was a brief shove against Jose by I guess someone who was on the opposing team during what was supposed to be, I assume, a friendly basketball game. Something about either not wanting to be fouled or wanting to be fouled during the basketball game.
How many dishes did I... Wow, you ate that already?
Well, I'm not entirely done. There's still some pieces left.
I'm like, where did I put my dish?
Oh.
It was underneath it.
Also, I think it was roughly at 10ish or something, I prepared some Italian whiting soup. 1 can, put it in a bowl, I think a bowl roughly this size, if not bigger, that was sort of clear, and microwaved it, this time using a plastic lid as a cover, for 4.5 minutes. Today was a day in which I made some efforts to catch up on my YouTube uploads. I uploaded the footage I took for the aftermath of what I now know to be my 20th blood donation. I remember guessing that back into my dinner for that day, yesterday, but I wasn't entirely sure until I checked. And when this is done, only be behind by when my dinner, which I should be able to upload. And it should only take somewhere between 2 to 3 hours. Lying down in this bed, headphones between my head, I was feeling pretty tired just laying down, listening to a YouTube video or something like that. Dad made me a cup of coffee for me to have while taking the final, because before taking it, I was feeling kind of tired, and I feared that I would either fall asleep and miss my opportunity to take the final, or I would not have the energy to properly complete the answers. Or more specifically, the answers I wanted to put in for the questions. Right now, again, my hope is to finish hopefully do that second extra credit opportunity I have in my intermediate Spanish 1 class, which has to do about a PowerPoint presentation on accents within the Spanish language. Me and one other person who planned to attend the November 20 workshop, because it got canceled, we were personally, in an email, we were given the PowerPoint that would have been used during the presentation. at the time being, I'm pretty close to getting the runes needed to build this ancient wonder, as it's a 5x5 building, or exactly the size of a, I believe, one city expansion slot. I have plans to put it here. And with that in mind, I assume that I'll eventually get to a point where the main hall will actually get bigger when I upgrade it. So even with that placed here, I'll be able to figure out some way to make the necessary room for the main hall. Just in case I get the Research 1 technology task, I should probably get close to completing that technology, but I shouldn't actually complete it, essentially. I also, prior to the finals, spent some time on Iron Rage today due to the grant chests that are handed out during the Hidden Threat event being so valuable. That being, there's a high probability of you getting some gold, enough so that if you're like me and you use gold to unlock the levels in the event, because you don't feel like engaging in the PvP, you can make your gold back pretty quickly via the grant chest. I have plans to make my dad a styrofoam drawing of his friend Bill in a Red Sox uniform. There's something funny, as Bill is a Yankees fan. So I looked up the Wikipedia page for the Boston Red Sox, and turns out their uniform is mostly white, which is surprising, as I thought that it would be mostly red. This is a pretty good Klondike bar. And again, here's how my city within Elvenar currently looks like. I had no idea that the training for all those archers had completed at the barracks. I've got a whole awful lot of combining catalysts right now, but virtually no spell fragments. In order to get all these, what seem to be pretty valuable things from the Magic Academy. Though thankfully, the Spire of Eternity is currently open. Not only will it give me the opportunity to get spell fragments, but there's also a chance of me getting part of the Moonstone Library collection. Possibly. Though I think for that, I have to get to here. Something I do pretty rarely, based on my experience. I think I only got past this encounter either once or twice, based off of my memory.